Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And yeah, I just thought I'd do another video. Honestly, throughout Ramadan, I wasn't going to actually do a video. I thought, this is a perfect time to focus on learning more about Islam, feeling closer to God, and yeah, just praying more, reading more. But considering, I made that video of me reverting, and if you haven't seen it, then feel free to sort of check it out. Since I made that video, I've got such an overwhelming amount of positive support. A couple of negative comments, but for the most part, very, very positive. And honestly, this is just representative of what it's like to revert. One of the big things is the brotherhood, the sisterhood, that kind of thing. How all of a sudden you're part of this bigger community, this bigger family. And it's really touching, honestly, reading all those comments. If you're one of those people, thank you so much. And thank you for subscribing as well. I really appreciate it. And honestly, I think it's given this channel a new lane in a sense, because that wasn't my intention. It wasn't to make it about Islam. But I think now that I've made that video and I see the sort of need for these types of stories, ex-hedonist or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what to call it. I was a dating coach, I lived a certain lifestyle, I'm covered in tattoos. Maybe there is a lane for this. I would say that people like me, or people who are sort of considering Islam, considering reverting, need to hear it maybe from people like themselves, people who look like me, talk like me, sometimes act like me, I guess. Stuff for a laugh. But anyway, yeah, so I just want to sort of, I'd say, try and document my experience as a revert, experiencing certain things for the first time. This is my first Ramadan, I'm super excited. I'm going to get into that in a sec, but I just want to say I will be doing a Q&A at some point. So if you have any questions, I've already got a bunch of questions I need to go through. If you have any more questions, drop it in the comments below, either on my revert video or this video, and I'll try and include it in the Q&A video that I do. But anyway, let's get this video started. I'll start off with this. Why am I doing my first fast? Fasting is just an integral part of Ramadan. What is Ramadan? Ramadan is basically a month in the Islamic calendar and it's also one of the 5 pillars of Islam, fasting for the month of Ramadan. It's where Muslims try and get closer to God. They read more of the Quran, they pray more as well, and they fast. And fasting is a sort of central part of it. Now, I've had experiences fasting. Fasting to most people, to Western people, is just not having food for the most part. Fasting in Islam is not having food or water, or engaging in certain activities such as, being intimate with a partner, swearing, I don't know, certain other things. So for me, I fasted before. I've done intermittent fasting, in terms of like fitness and gym and stuff like that, but I've never fasted water. Now that was a crazy concept for me. I didn't even understand how can you go 12, 13, 14, 15 hours without having any water. That's all I drink. That's all I have. Now I know for other people it may be, not having coffee, waking up with this banging headache, boom, 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 because they haven't had their morning coffee. For me, I drink coffee, but I'm not relying on it. I don't need it for energy. It's more so I enjoy drinking coffee. So that wasn't really an issue for me. Something else I forgot to mention was that also during the month of Ramadan is that all your good deeds get multiplied, essentially. So, and another big thing that Muslims love to do during Ramadan is they love to give to charity, zakat. And this is a obligatory percentage of the amount that you have. You're meant to give away. I believe it's 2.5%, and a lot of Muslims wait until Ramadan to actually do that. So yeah, if you do that during Ramadan, you pray, you read the Quran, all of these things, your deeds get multiplied. And so obviously it's a great time to do it. So let me break down fasting for Muslims, because my interpretation of it before I reverted was that, it's horrible. Why would you want to go the whole month fasting? Like, initially I thought you don't eat any food for the whole month. Sounds so dumb. But yeah, so how it works is that you fast from Fajr to Maghrib. You don't have any food or water in between. So at Fajr time, at the moment it's roughly about 4 a.m. in the morning. From that point, as soon as it hits that time, it means you've started your fast, and then you're meant to start your fast all the way until it's Maghrib time, and that is the 4th out of the 5 prayers in that day. Right now, that time is roughly 6:30. So for all the way from 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., you don't have any water, any food. You're not meant to do certain activities, you know, even if you have a partner, you have a wife or a husband, you're not meant to do certain activities. You're not meant to swear. You're not meant to do a lot of things, right? And this is, what's that? So I'm trying to do quick maths. 14 hours. It's a long time. But the purpose of this is really to put a lot more focus onto connecting with God, reading more, as I said, praying more, but also having a sense of gratitude for what you usually have, and disconnecting from the world, disconnecting from social media, and really putting focus onto your religion, your faith, your connection with God. So for me, at the start of Ramadan, I made a list of goals. I'm not gonna really go into like super specifics of amounts and this and that, but it was essentially to read more, pray more, on top of the 5 obligatory prayers. I wanted to do the night prayer at least once a week, which honestly, so far at this point, I've done it more than that, so I'm really happy with that. I wanted to give a certain amount to charity. I'm not going to say exactly the amount, but a certain amount, and things along those lines. I'm trying to think. There's definitely some other things, but I can't remember off the top of my head, I promise. But anyway, this month for me is basically just focusing on, I would say, like four or five things. So obviously fasting, of course, it's a month of Ramadan. Fasting, praying, reading the Quran, working out as well. Try not to, because that's the one thing that I heard is very, very difficult, is that if you're into the gym, it's very difficult to work out during Ramadan, because even after breaking fast, you know, iftar is basically the meal that you have. You know, you've replenished yourself with certain calories, nutrients, water. You still feel tired, and I have experienced that, but hey, it's part of the journey, it's part of the experience, and you just have to put up with it. It's also a great time to spend time sort of connecting with family and friends as well. You know, obviously I'm a revert, I have no one in my family who's a Muslim, so, but even then, you can still have meals with your family. They have food around the same time that I'm meant to have iftar, so, you know, it works out. And obviously I'll be meeting up with friends, you know, to have iftar with as well. So, but anyway, here is how my first fast went. So the night of Ramadan, when Ramadan started, I filled myself with food. So much food, I swear. I must have like chicken, steak, I had some donuts, I had a whole tub of ice cream, yeah. Oh, my voice breaking. Anyway, even my voice knew there was something wrong with that. But I had a whole tub of ice cream. I had some fruit as well. You know, I'm a bit healthy. I had a protein shake. And then I went to night prayers, yeah. All of that food, man. Like, I was just going up and down, up and down. I thought I was going to throw up. But I went to night prayers. I think that started kind of late. It started around 9:30 p.m, which I think a lot of other places start around 8:30 p.m. This one started late, went on until about, I think it was around 11 p.m, went home, fell asleep, woke up around 3:30 a.m, had some food. I didn't have as much because around that time in the morning, how are you meant to eat a whole meal at 3:30 in the morning? Is tough, man. But anyway, I just heated up some stuff. I think I had steak and rice, along with another protein shake, some fruit, some dates as well. You need to learn to love dates, honestly. They are so good. Well, if you get some good ones, and make sure they're not from Israel. I'm sorry to if any Israelis, which I'm sure you won't watch this video, but if you do, sorry, but make sure they're from, you know, Saudi or Palestine or, you know, wherever. So anyway, yeah, after I ate, it was Fajr time, around 4:30 or so, roughly that time. Prayed, went to bed, woke up again, 8:15, 8:30. At this point, my fast had started, so I couldn't drink any water. My mouth was feeling a bit dry. It wasn't too bad though. Started work. Now, the first few hours of work, amazing. It's all going well. It's all going perfect. Everything's going to plan. I feel full of energy, you know, I feel great. The sun was shining. Oh my days. When I woke up, the sun was shining. It reminded me of that time in my Revert story where I woke up the next morning and the sun was shining. I thought, this is a glorious day. It's lunchtime. I'm dead, bruv. No energy at all. No energy. So this is one tip that I would give. Around lunchtime or early afternoon, take a little nap. Instead of having your lunch break, take a little nap. Take 30 to 60 minutes. Sleep. Wake up, you'll feel your energy is just completely replenished. I don't know what it is, just completely replenished. Then obviously you carry out the rest of your prayers that day. It's Maghrib time. I'd say the hour leading up to Maghrib is tough. That hour goes so slow. I was there doing some work, looking over at my watch or my phone. The time, it felt like I was going backwards, not even forwards. It was crazy. It took forever. But as soon as that hits, say you know, certain lines that you need to say in Arabic in order to break your fast. And then you break your fast, chugging all that water. I must have chugged about 2 liters in about 30 seconds. Had about 10 dates, yeah. Try not to choke on the seats. Then you pray Maghrib, you go and have iftar. You just eat a bunch of food and the cycle sort of repeats. It repeats itself. So obviously, as you're about to break your fast, you have to say a dua, which is in Arabic and is basically, you know, something that you have to say right before you break your fast and right before you start your fast as well. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you get the right wording for it as well. So at the moment, I break fast or have iftar on my own, or sometimes with family, not really. But I think at some point over the next few weeks, you know, I'll be trying to meet up with friends a bit more, try not to be as lonely when I have iftar. You know, I have a lot of close friends who live not too far away, so hopefully we can do that as well. And one thing is that something tricky to do with Ramadan and fasting is that when you're trying to go to the gym, you have to try and fit it around, because obviously if you're trying to pray at night, it's tough because it will be around the same time that a lot of gyms close as well, so you won't necessarily have the time. So you have to kind of find a balance between that. You know, obviously if you want to pray every night the full 20 rakas, then you might have to give up gym. For me, I'm trying to do it sort of on off, trying to, you know, do that kind of thing, so that, because the thing is, once you fall off gym, it's so hard to get back into it. And I've spent a lot of time trying to get into the gym. And, you know, I think there's such thing as balance. I think, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he's reasonable, he's merciful. And, you know, he doesn't make ridiculous requirements for us, alhamdulillah. And so, yeah, anyway, I think even though it's tough to go gym, it's just a bitter pill you need to swallow. And it's part of it. It's part of the sacrifice. It's part of appreciating what you usually have. That's exactly what this month is all about. But yeah, overall, amazing experience so far. I know it's only been like, well, it's been a couple of days at this point. But yeah, honestly, just not having social media, only speaking to a select group of people, praying, reading the Quran, trying to work out, trying to spend a bit more time with family, just feel closer to God, you know, and hopefully that will continue for the rest of this month, inshallah. And yeah, I just feel so blessed that I get to experience this, and I feel blessed that I get to share this as well, alhamdulillah. And yeah, if you have any questions, as I said, I'm going to do a Q&A, hopefully, probably like over the next few days or week or so. You know, I have a limited amount of time since, you know, I'm trying to actually do Ramadan the correct way. And yeah, hopefully I'll come out with a Q&A video shortly, inshallah. And if you have any questions, let me know. Assalamu alaikum.